Trying to think about what are they doing right now. Let's bring in former NASA astronaut and former commander of the International Space Station and the author of this great book that's coming out, Dinner with an Astronaut, Leroy Chiao. Leroy, it's due out in June, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, about mid-June.
We'll be looking for it. What a moment, what a day, what an opportunity here. These astronauts are hard at work already, and my understanding is that the first few hours of liftoff, right after liftoff, it was critical for them. We're looking live at NASA TV right now. It's a visualization for where they are, what they're doing right now, or at least their placement in their orbit there. They went through a pair of burns yesterday, Leroy, to place the spacecraft in high elliptical orbit. And my understanding is they'll go through one more burn in the next 24 hours. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so they'll be doing what's called the translunar injection burn, and they will be headed towards the moon. So basically, they've got to check the spacecraft out, make sure that everything's working well before they do that. And then they're going to swing around the moon in what's called a free return trajectory. So they're going to use the moon's gravity to actually pull them back and send them back around towards the Earth. So very exciting stuff. They will actually become the farthest humans to travel, the humans to travel farthest from the Earth, even farther than the Apollo astronauts did.
You said it would use, did you say the moon's trajectory to pull them back to Earth? And my understanding in reading up on some of the coverage is that is not an easy task. Is that correct? That it's quite difficult to do.
Yes, they'll use the moon's gravity to kind of pull them around. That is, the trajectory is designed such that the moon's gravity will slingshot them back around towards the Earth. It's basically what Apollo 13 did when they had the damage to the service module on Apollo 13. They were on what's called a free return trajectory, same kind of deal, and they swung around the moon and were able to come back to Earth and be saved. And so this, all the Apollos basically were in that kind of trajectory. They'd have to do another burn if they wanted to circularize and orbit the moon, which of course most of those missions did, so that they could go ahead and land. But this mission, of course, is not landing. Its main purpose is to check out the spacecraft. They're going to be the farthest away that any humans have ever been from the Earth. They got to exercise the thermal control system, the life support system, the communication system, all of those things, and make sure the spacecraft is set up and is going to work well on future missions.
Use the moon's gravity to really capitalize on the trajectory to get them back to Earth. Clarified that. And then you broke down what they're doing. NASA engineers, scientists, planners, what are you most curious about? Obviously, they're doing all these test runs of their suits and all the systems on board to bring back that data and say, how did it respond? How did our spacecraft respond? How did the humans experience? What was the human experience like? But what are you most curious about?
Right. Well, I would say the most critical part of this mission is to see how the heat shield performs, because 3.5 years ago we launched Artemis 1 with no humans on board. It did a similar mission to what they're doing on this one, but with no people on board. And when they recovered the spacecraft, engineers were pretty stunned to see the extent of damage to the heat shield. You know, when you come back from low Earth orbit, you're traveling at about 17,500 miles an hour. When you come back from the moon, you're traveling at about 25,000 miles per hour. And so the heat shield has to take a lot more, it has to take out a lot more energy and gets a lot more thermal load on it. So engineers have had 3.5 years to get their arms around the problem. They designed a new trajectory coming in to minimize the heating. So we'll see how that all works out. I should point out that even if there had been a crew on board Artemis 1, they would have survived. But of course, NASA, we like to have a little more margin.
Thank you for clarifying that, because my journalist brain was about to ask you, how confident are you that this heat shield will hold up? So good to know. I am curious, did the damage to the heat shield happen on re-entry?
Yes, that's exactly right. So, they changed the way that they did the heat shield from the Apollo days. And in so doing, they didn't anticipate certain problems. And so they really took a long time, 3.5 years, to really get their arms around the technical issues and then come up with a solution. So I'm confident. I haven't been in detailed discussions with people about this, but just folks I've talked to and things I've read, it looks like they really are confident that they've got this problem solved.
Well, so far, so good. Our thoughts and prayers are with, of course, the astronauts, the crew, and everyone at NASA. The president was celebrating last night when he addressed the nation and the world. It was the first thing he did. He was congratulating NASA and the crew on a really successful launch. Listen to this.
Let me begin by congratulating the team at NASA and our brave astronauts on the successful launch of Artemis 2. It was quite something. It will be traveling further than any manned rocket has ever flown and will very substantially pass the moon, go around it, and come back home from a distance that has never been done before. It's amazing.
So this president, Leroy, has been laser focused on getting back to the moon, returning to space. He built the Space Force during his first term. He brought the Space Force back when they were pretty much sidelined during the last administration. This mission really is a key step toward landing on the moon, and that goal is set for 2028 by this administration.
Well, that's right. And this was a big shot in the arm for us. This exploration program, and spanned many administrations, was originally started in 2004. So think about it. It's been 22 years. There have been left turns, right turns, starts, stops, and all those things, changes in direction. And finally, we've got astronauts in space on this exploration program, on the new vehicle, on the new rocket. And I think it was a very much needed shot in the arm, very proud moment for the United States, showing our leadership in human spaceflight. And we are going to be leading the way back to the moon. So this was a very good shot in the arm yesterday.
We are all celebrating the joy. Former NASA astronaut and former commander of the International Space Station and author of Dinner with an Astronaut, Leroy Chiao. Your book comes out in June. We'll be looking for it, sir. Thanks so much for your time, as always.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.